All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. Today on The Mess in the Middle, I have a longtime friend and fellow real estate slash marketer that I get to interview. And I know you guys are going to love this interview. Trish has got a great story, and I know you'll get a ton of value out of it. So, Trish, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, so it was interesting. It was within the same week of me, I don't know, like 2 months after I relaunched my business and got back into this space. You were the first person to reach out to me to ask me if I wanted to be on their podcast. And
Oh, nice.
I respect the podcasting hustle more than you can possibly imagine. I love listening to podcasts. I don't really consume too much television anymore. The
Yeah.
majority of my content is consumed from podcasts. And so I'm very honored that you reached out to me. And I guess I was telling my story enough that you felt like it was time. So thank you for having me, truly.
Of course. With that said, let's dig into it a little bit. So let everybody know how you're showing up in the universe and where you're at with things right now.
Oh my gosh. So much to unpack in just that question alone. So I had a business before. I had 5 minute lives, Press Live with Purpose. I was the queen of Facebook Live. Everybody knew me. I had my own podcast, which I actually just relaunched, but I was doing the thing. And I actually co-launched a conference in February of 2020
Okay.
and the military women's conference with a business partner who was a
Okay.
military spouse. And at the time, things were going great. I was multiple six figures. Everything was going really well. And then it wasn't because we launched the conference in February of 2020. And as
Mhm.
everybody can sure remember, March of 2020 is when the world
Bye
shut
bye.
down and the pandemic hit. And there was so much uncertainty around financial stability.
Hmm.
Nothing was stable. Literally nothing was stable. Our
Yeah.
minds weren't stable. Our spirits weren't stable. Nothing was stable. Our health wasn't stable. Like people, it
Right.
was very scary. And so with that came the downfall and I had to press pause on my business. So I lost a lot of clients. I had people who were really nervous about continuing to launch anything or
Yeah.
to retain me as their coach. And so I had to dust off my resume. I say thank God that I had what I had in the corporate
Hmm.
world to rely on because the mortgage industry and the real estate industry boomed
Right.
again. Like it went crazy. And all of these companies were hiring again. And so I started back working with a nice big financial institution as an underwriter, as a mortgage underwriter. And I got hired on
Okay.
making some really good money. And I am beyond, to this day, I'm beyond blessed. I'm very happy that it happened the way that it did. And so I did that for 2.5 years. And after 7 rounds of layoffs in that company, then I survived 7 rounds of layoffs. You can only imagine, I will say,
The
to anybody
stress.
who's going through this right now, if you're hearing this, please know that I see you, I hear you, I am you. And create some kind of a side hustle for yourself, even if it's just
Hmm.
affiliate marketing, whether it's working with Audra or anybody else. Make sure that you have some kind of like a plan B and C and D, because it's scary when you get laid off
Right.
and you have a household that relies on you and a family to feed, right? So that was December 1 of 2022. The first day of the month of Christmas, I lost my job.
Oh,
And thankfully, I got 2.5 months of severance pay. So I had a little bit of a cushion, but not much. So it was like, and right
hurry.
away, I got a contract job. And this contract job lasted for 6 months. So as I was working this contract job that I hated, I despised the work. My stress level was through the roof. My blood pressure was through the roof. It was horrible. As this was happening, I was like, I need to get back into this marketing space. I'm constantly watching. I'm watching people like
Right.
you, like my business coach, the Marley Jacksons out there, the Owen
Hmm.
videos out there. I was paying attention to how content was being delivered on TikTok and all the reasons why I didn't want to deliver content on TikTok.
I don't do it. I'm not the TikTok boat. I just
No,
can't do it.
not at all. But I started showing up on LinkedIn more and Instagram and
Hmm.
Facebook. And like, these are my platforms. And the most important thing I will tell you, Audra, that I learned is that
Hmm.
while there's definitely been some shifts to how we show up, the way to creating a business really hasn't
Hasn't
changed,
changed.
right? It really
Hmm.
hasn't changed. It's from ideation to implementation. It's learning what
Yep.
you're going to do, where you're skilled, where you're talented, whether or not it's sticky in the market. You've got a viable product that you can present, and then presenting that product and launching ugly in beta, making it work,
Yep.
showing up, bringing as much value and deliverables as you possibly can. and then molding it from there and just create a system and
Yeah.
scale. And I ended up rehiring my business coach, Chad Thibodeau, which I know
Yeah, of
and
course.
together we launched together the 6-figure side hustle. And I got clients. I'm going to cry. Like I am so just filled with gratitude because had I not known to do
Yeah.
that, because a lot of it with this business, as you know, you don't know what you need to know until you need to know it.
Right.
Like it just, some people are making money on Amazon. I'm doing it too, but not everybody realizes how simple and simplified it can be
Right.
to create a coaching business or any service-based business,
Yeah.
right? So once I got those stepping stones in line and we created that, now it's just like duplicating it,
Rinse and repeat.
tweaking
Yeah.
it, and just, yeah, and just scaling up. And so that's where I'm at right now. And the 6-figure side hustle is going well. And we got some folks launched and it's just wonderful. It's such a great feeling.
That is awesome. So everybody that's listening to this, couple really important takeaways I want you to listen to. One, you got to be humble enough. You got to be dynamic. You got to be flexible. You've got to be able to say, it's not working right now. I need to take a step back or a step sideways or whatever that looks like for you. But when it's not working, stop trying to force it. Something else is happening around you. So the first thing you got to do is make sure your family is taken care of, right? No matter how
Yep.
passionate you are about your side hustle or your job, we got to do what we got to do to keep going.
Yeah.
I've been in and out of services the last probably 5 years, taking on clients when I want to, and then not taking on clients so I can work on my stuff. It is something that I have to do to be able to grow something new from nothing, right? No email list, no brand, no product into something else because as I pivot out of services, this is what I've had to do. Is it great? Is it fun? No. Is it long hours? Absolutely.
Mhm.
But it depends on how bad you want it and the commitment that you're going to make to it. So hear that flexibility, hear that Trish has gone forward and backwards and sideways and forward and backwards. We all do it. That's part of going through this. But hopefully, as you take one step back, next time you take 3 forward, and then you take one step back and you take 10 forward, right? The
Yeah,
more momentum you get and the more flexible you are, is really who's going to win in this game. So stick to that and know that it's okay. It's part of it. There's nothing that says we
absolutely.
can't adjust along this journey. So, okay, so you're now working on this coaching business. Now, are you
Mhm.
doing W-2 type stuff as well or
Oh, no.
just this? Okay.
In fact, 100% transparency. Am I trying to get another like primary job or I
Yep.
guess at this
Regular
point would be a
income.
side
Yep.
hustle? Sure, my resume's out there. My resume's out there all over the place. But I'm either overqualified or
Yeah.
by the time they tell me that they went with another candidate, it's 6 months later. And so I in no way, shape, or form would I ever burn a bridge and say, screw you to the corporate world, because behind every big corporation is an
Mhm.
entrepreneur who had an idea and lost. And I had to. I get it, right? I also get the need to having to do a workforce reduction. No
Mhm.
entrepreneur, no business owner wants to let people go like that. Unless, of course, the people just suck at what they do, in which case,
Right. There's enough of
peace
them
out.
out there.
Correct, right? But it's been, I'm not going to lie to you. It became so daunting
Mhm.
that I had to pray on it a lot. I really did. I had to pray on it a lot and I had to seek guidance from God. I'm a Christian woman. I do pray every day of my life and I had to seek guidance and I had to just tap into, okay, if I'm not getting these interviews, if I'm not getting these jobs, that I am clearly meant for something different. I am
Right.
clearly meant to pursue this thing that fuels me, that gives me passion. And I will tell you, I recently became a subject matter expert for the Rosie Network. And for those
Okay.
people who don't know who that is, listener, so the Rosie Network is Angie's List for the military community. For
Nice.
what they do is they provide like an incubator essentially
Mhm.
for military veterans and military spouses who want to build businesses and become entrepreneurs, right?
Nice.
So they reached out to me. I actually had one of the facilitators is a client of mine. She's been a client of mine for years, and I'm helping her relaunch her business. And she's so pleased with the work that we're doing together in her relaunch that she asked me if I would be a subject matter expert for this group of people. So I hopped on a call with them last
Awesome.
Sunday And I'm just watching them have these aha moments in a bigger space. There's 10 people on the call and I'm watching them and I'm walking them and I'm in it.
Mhm.
At first it was supposed to be, I'm supposed to share my screen and go through modules. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to
Yeah.
group coach and I'm going to coach you one-on-one. You give me your elevator pitch and I'm going to coach you specifically on what to do to make it better. Right. And
Nice.
then this coming Sunday, I'm going to walk them through market research. But I love it. I love it to my
Good.
core. I love
Good.
helping people see that vision that they're
Mhm.
trying to see that maybe somebody else can't help them see. Right. And
Right.
it's, I love it. I really, truly do. I love doing it in a group setting. So I want to keep doing that. And I want to start hosting like live workshops and masterminds locally. And
Good.
then obviously across the country. Eventually I want to do that too.
Good.
Yeah.
The important thing that you tie on to there is you've got to be able to balance that mindset game that goes on. I know intellectually or financially, I should be going after this job. I need to get on Indeed. I need to look for a job. I got to stay at it. Bottom line is you're just trying to generate revenue.
Yes.
But we go back to, again, what we believe is going to be that parachute to keep us going. When I get stuck like that, if I start going through something where I can't figure out where exactly I'm going, it's not showing itself, right? If I can't see the path, it's very hard for me to walk down it. If I don't know the destination of where I'm headed, I'll get into that place where you can't have fear and faith at the same time.
Oh, say
So
it again, sister.
right? If you got to decide what camp you're in. So if I'm going to live in fear, I can't have faith that God, the universe, whatever it is, their higher power is pulling you in the right direction. The other thing that I really hold on to is if I'm not moving, either in my business, me as a human, there's some kind of lesson that I am supposed to get. And that's why I'm still here. And I'm not paying attention to it because I haven't learned it. And until I learn it, I don't get to evolve past it.
Mhm.
And I will recognize that where I'll get a couple steps forward and it pulls me back. I get a couple steps forward, it pulls me back. There's something there that I'm not getting. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to keep repeating it because I haven't figured it out. So sometimes it's just, okay, slow down for a second.
Yep.
Let's look around. What is it that we're doing that we're not getting past to evolve
Yep.
to what's next? And that really helps me center back because we're doers, we're
We
entrepreneurs, we're
are.
moving fast, we're driven. And sometimes we're not paying attention when those lights are blinking because we're driving down the freeway so fast and we were supposed to get off at the exit. We weren't because we weren't paying attention.
It's so true. It is so true. Being self-aware, do you know how many people I know that are absolutely just not self-aware at all? Like
No.
they don't know how to check in with themselves. And even friends of mine, like we have conversations, they're like, I don't understand why this is happening this way. I don't understand what I'm like, what does your daily routine look like? Well, what does your
Yeah.
day look like? Let's talk about that. Are you taking care of yourself at all? Are
Very
you consuming enough
conscious of,
water? Are you going for a walk? Are you
right.
meditating? Are you praying? Are you reading? Are you doing anything to refuel your mind and your spirit and your soul, and your body? Right?
Most not, but think, okay, but take that and go back 10 years.
Yeah,
Nobody was even
that's for sure.
aware
Mhm.
today than we were 10 years ago. I found Tony Robbins in that whole NLP space when I was like 23.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about it. If I talked to
No.
somebody about Eckhart Tolle or meditation or any of that kind of stuff in my 20s, they would have thought I was batshit crazy. Yeah, Audra, okay, good. Nobody was talking about that. So at least we're evolving where you can have the conversation with somebody saying, are you even conscious of what happens to your day? Or are you
Yeah.
just going through the motions of whatever life gives you? I mean,
You're
that's a
100% right. And
sucky way to live.
not only are we evolving, but 45 years young, right? We're in a different era. But
Yeah.
what I look on, I watch TikTok to see what kind of content's out there and see what's trending. I don't create on TikTok and all. But I see some of these young people, young entrepreneurs on TikTok, and they are in their 20s and they
Mhm.
are doing those things and they are self-aware. And I'm like, it's nice to see
Yeah.
that as we've learned that they're learning too, and they're jumping on these trains. And because at the end of the day, we're the ones teaching them.
Absolutely.
We are the
Totally.
parents of these young people, right? I don't have a 20-year-old yet, but I've got a 9 and 7-year-old. And even that, like my daughter, if she's feeling uncomfortable or we're not, we talk through it, we pray through it, and she does yoga. Like I'm like, come on, let's stretch.
Good.
Let's get through it. So
Good.
it's interesting how much being self-aware and just being, I call it being grounded in gratitude, right? Give thanks to God, give thanks to all the things that I have in my life every day. And then I always have a drawing board, pad, always, in a book of some sort, right? Like I'm
That's
always,
funny.
you have to. Our
Yeah.
brains need it. We got to, entrepreneurs, we're like going a million miles a minute, right? Yeah, true. Like all that is very true. I love it.
Okay, so let's tie back to your story. So you're doing coaching, you're keeping yourself out there and just saying, universe, yes. Whatever it
I'm
is,
saying universe,
yes.
yes. I'm saying yes, I'm going to step into what I'm supposed to be stepping into. I am stepping into it. And another big obstacle that I hit, and there's going to be so many people that feel this because I've had very good friends of mine that I spoke to all summer long. So because I got laid off from my job and because
Mhm.
my contract job ended at the beginning of June, also what happened the beginning of June is my children started summer vacation, right?
That's
So my husband and I did not send our kids to summer camp. First of all, we couldn't find one that would take them because it was a waiting
yeah.
list. And secondly, we're like, why? I'm not going to spend that
What do
money.
we
Be like frugal here, right? Like we really don't have the funds to do. So I was the summer camp director for both of my children with a 7 and 9-year-old in the hottest summer we have experienced in Florida, hands down. You're insane.
yeah,
It's been disgustingly
painful.
humid. It's
It
just
sucked.
terrible.
It has
We're
been
just
painful.
stomped at each other.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
because and then the storms come through. So it's okay, I'm gonna take the kids to the pool. And I bring my laptop to the pool with me. And I'm trying to build out a sales funnel while my kids are in the pool, making sure that they're okay. And in between getting bit and stung by flying
I
insects.
know.
You know I'm talking about because you have to
Oh, so
too, right?
painful.
I will suffice it to say it was the longest summer of my adult
Uh,
life. And even through all, I'm gonna cry. Even through all of it, I
yeah.
managed to launch my coaching business. So now that my children are back in school full time, Monday through Friday, yeah, I can take all these things that I'm writing down and actually implement them.
That's awesome.
So it's exciting. So I'm doing a 5-day sprint starting next Monday,
Okay,
or this coming Monday, I should say.
good.
So I'm enrolling people into that. And I'm really excited about doing that because it's implementing everything that Chad's taught me, my business coach,
Mhm,
and what I've created
mhm.
myself into my own program and how I teach. And just getting people launched and just doing the damn thing and repeating and doing it over and over again. And then
Nice.
obviously too, I'm reaching out to various different real estate
Mhm.
offices and different places that I can go and conduct workshops and start teaching.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. And teaching marketing or teaching what?
Teaching marketing and teaching, launching, like how to get yourself out there. I mean,
Okay, okay.
there
From a
are,
personal brand perspective for real
yes.
estate? Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and it's not just real estate agents, but I feel like there are real estate agents and real estate investors who are doing a really good job. Purchase
Mhm.
season is coming to an end, right? It's
Yeah.
dying down. So now is the time to take whatever money they made. Typically, it's going to be a multiple six-figure real estate
Mhm.
agent or a millionaire real estate agent. Let's talk about it, or investor, and taking the time now and saying, okay, I'm ready to create that coaching program so that I can teach other people how to do this too, right? Because
Good.
there's a lot of brand new green real estate agents out there that
Yeah.
are like, I want to learn how to do this from people who are making like just
I've
banking.
already done it. Yeah.
Yeah, from the
Yeah.
experts, literally from the experts. So it's just at the end of the day, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's just taking people that you're like, you know what? You need to be positioning yourself in such a way that you're not leaving your house every weekend to take one
Open
person,
houses.
yeah, one person to look at 100 different houses who's indecisive and going, oh, I like the floor plan. I like this, but it's missing this. This is why I'm not a real estate agent. I'm 100%
Yeah.
transparency. My best friend the other day told me, why are you not a real estate agent? You should do that. You would crush it. I'm like, I don't have the patience for those types of people. I
Yeah.
don't.
No,
I want to
that's
work
a
with
super
people
tough industry.
who are just like ready and craving to just launch a business and let's go. So that's kind of
Good.
where I'm at right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when somebody else is going through this same type of thing where they get a little bit of momentum, they've got a lot of plates are spinning, how do you stay focused on this is the direction I'm headed with all the shiny distractions around you?
So when I first got it started doing this, especially with Chad's actually really good about keeping me like focused.
Good.
And so one of the promises that I made to myself when I started this business for this second time and launched into this was that I was going to see it through. So for every project that I begin, I'm going to see it through to the end, and I'm going to do it over and over again until I'm ready to maybe take a piece of that and branch it into something different or whatever. Do I want to be a speaker? Absolutely. 100%. I'm one of my speaking coaches, my main speaking coach, Sean Douglas. He's a TEDx speaker. He actually just got asked to be on the TEDx team to coach people how to do talks
Nice.
out in Utah. And he reached out to me the other day. He's, bro, we call each other bro. It's fun. He's, bro, we got to get you a talk going. And I was like, let me finish this.
Yeah.
Let me see this all the way through, and let me get a few cycles through and help
Mhm.
people do this and do it
Mhm.
really successfully. And so then I actually will have a talk. I'll be able to talk to people about how to launch,
Real life
right?
experience.
Yeah, because I can go out there and I could do 5-minute lives. I can talk about motivation and how to push through and how to overcome going from laid off to launched. I could talk
Right.
about all of these things,
Right.
but I really want to have something that's like tangible that people can sink their teeth into.
Today, launching a business online, it's easier than it's ever been. Really, compared to
Really?
when I started. So I started in the internet space in 2009.
Oh,
So I was
wow.
in the
Okay.
real estate thing when it crashed. So I owned a title company and did real estate in 2008 happened in 2009, and I was actually one of the fortunate ones. A lot of my customers went out of business, but I could have stuck it out. I just didn't like the industry. The
Yeah.
industry was really challenging through that disaster, '08 to 10.
Yeah.
FHA wasn't clear what was going to happen with all the foreclosures. The banks were a mess. All the regulations were being rewritten. I just didn't want to be a part of that. So
Yeah.
in 2009, somebody introduced me to a Dan Kennedy event.
Oh my
And
goodness.
that was just like, oh my God, sign me up. Where do I get started? This is when people
He's like the
were,
godfather of marketing, right?
yes,
Everybody refers
yeah,
to Dan Kennedy. Yeah.
Glazer Kennedy. So went down that path of Glazer Kennedy events. They were still selling from the stage where you actually got packets and CDs. It was such a crazy time, but that's the pioneer of where this industry has evolved from. So I feel like I'm like in the fifth generation. The
Yeah.
people that are launching today have no idea what we went through back then to build a business online,
Yeah.
to get customers, to yes, it was less competitive. So we did get better results quicker that way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, everything had to be built from scratch. There was
Yeah.
nothing. So it took much longer to get a launch done. That's the whole reason ClickFunnels has evolved to where they were, because Russell
Yeah.
was trying to solve that problem.
100%.
Um, yeah, but it's been such a great journey. The takeaways that I get, so out of all these podcasts that I've been doing, not separate from the clients I've served, the out of 60 or 70 podcasts that I'm in now, there's like certain patterns are showing up. One, we still builds out of order. Two, they hide in the technology instead of actually focusing on finding the audience with the right message at the right time. They're focused on the technology. Let me get through the checklist. Let me build a website. Let me build a funnel. Let me set up an email list. Let me work on social media. None of that really matters as much as getting the right audience with the right message and the right product. And out of order still, 15 years in, that's still the biggest mistake that I see people make, and how much time is wasted and how much money and energy and just mental capacity trying to force it, trying to go to their end goal and work it backwards when they don't understand that very first kickoff would save people months and months. I can't even imagine how many people have actually gone out of business because they didn't spend the time on that first part to figure it out.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And to your point, using AI unethically to launch a business just to say that they know how to use AI.
Right.
So congratulations, you know how to put a prompt into ChatGPT. But what does the prompt do? What's the purpose of it?
How are you going to use it? How do you
How are you going
connect
to
the
use it?
dots? Yeah.
Does it sound like you, or does it sound like Russell Brunson regurgitated all over the place? Every other,
Or Alex
you know,
Hormozy, right?
or any, Yeah, like anybody, like, so,
Frankfurt.
because when it actually, I'll tell you, like when Chad first introduced it to me, I got a little cringy with it because I'm like, I don't know if I like this, right?
Yeah.
And then different people have different methodologies for how to use it properly. But I used it one day and I had to write something for me. And Chad looked over it and he goes, "Can I just tell you something?" And I go, "What?" He goes, "It really just doesn't sound like you." He goes, "When you just
Yeah.
write, you're really good at storytelling." Like in fact,
Mhm.
ChatGPT has likened me to Mel Robbins type of writing,
Yep.
gritty, but
Yep.
transformational,
Yeah.
taking you through the journey, being honest, which I always am, and very transparent because if you're
Yeah.
not, then the internet will find out.
Absolutely.
If you don't tell your story, somebody else will, right? So that's what I tell people. I say, use it to use it like you would me, right? Like I've always taught like anybody when you're using makeup, I put makeup on my face to accentuate my natural features, right?
Yeah.
Not to make me look like a clown or make
A
me look
different
like
person.
somebody different, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm a person, right?
Right.
So whenever I use AI, I use it to just help me with the language a little bit 'cause it is quite a bit of a thesaurus at times. But I use it just to like broaden or shorten something because I can get long winded in my storytelling, obviously. So that's what I use it for. And that's what I tell
That's
other people
awesome.
to use it for. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's my message to people. Like, please don't use it to write for you. Use it to help you write.
Here's the other thing too, with people that are starting to use AI, use it as a brainstorm, use it
Yeah.
as an assistant. A lot of people that I'll run into are like, I just don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Where do I don't get out social media consistently because I know what I want to say, but it doesn't look good or I'm not saying it the right way, or use it to refine your message. Use it to help you hone in to really what it is. Like you said, shorten it where I'm this to this, doing this, and
Yeah.
find multiple ways just to be able to re-say that. But then maybe it's more professional or maybe it's more jazzy or more sarcastic. I'll spend hours. I use AI quite a bit. I've
Yeah.
actually doubled down on that track. I've
Yeah.
created
It's fun.
30 courses with AI. They're all basic courses. Some of the challenge with, again, as we talked about business owners, they're new, they go out to the end, they buy a course or get a coaching program and then try to come back. And they still needed that foundation. And I don't care how good your tools are, you're not going to go from an expertise in your company to self employed with a brand new product, a brand new market on the same level. You're coming back down here at the back of the line and you're starting over because
Yep.
there's stuff that you have to learn that you probably did not do for the business owner. So, did you generate leads? Did you generate sales? Did you write the copy? Did you handle product distribution? Did you set up all the financials? All that stuff. If that was not your role as an employee, you have to learn it. So, you're going to the back
100%.
of the line.
A
But
hundred
what
percent.
happens is people don't think they need to. I'm going to take my expertise and I'm going to launch a product and I just am going to make a lateral move. They won't. So, somebody has to backfill that information. So
Yep.
that's the whole point of why I created these courses.
Yep.
Don't go to them unless you're stuck. When you're
Right.
stuck, go back and learn the foundation, but they're written by AI. I would say together. So
Yep.
I decided what I wanted the outline to be. I used AI to help me fill in the content.
Yep.
It's screen record and it's a overdub voice. It's not even my voice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
30 courses, yeah. And again, you can read it, you can download it, you can watch it, but the point is they need the information. How it's delivered, I think, is irrelevant. Do it in whatever modality works for you, but the content is what they need to pay attention to.
Yep.
So,
100%. No, I agree with you.
yeah.
I completely agree with you. And
So,
you're right. And there's too many people out there. I did sales when I was a kid because my dad owned a restaurant or several
mhm,
restaurants and a catering company. My first job, I was 12 years old working in his kitchen, chopping fruit and breaking down and setting up the salad bar. That's what I did, washing pots and pans with a seal wool pen. And I remember my first introduction to sales was my dad saying hi to someone, shaking their hand, telling them a joke, and then saying, "What can I get you today?" So
that,
it's the relationship, right?
yeah,
Relationship, the nurture, that's
yeah,
telling them a joke. My dad's hysterical. I always make my clients laugh, no matter who they are. I try to make them
good.
laugh first and foremost because it relaxes them. It's just
Yeah.
basic
We're
psychology,
friends. I'm
right?
just trying to help you.
And it's a relationship. At the end of the day, I'm sarcastic, extremely sarcastic. I laugh at everything, right? So I have a very funny and silly sense of humor, but I think that's important with
Mhm.
sales. And I use that as an underwriter, but I was an underwriter, Audra. I wasn't a
Right.
salesperson in the mortgage
Right.
industry, right? Did I work with the salespeople? Yes. But to that point, we say we're not salespeople. If you have a spouse, you're a salesperson because you're selling them on loving you every day. If you have
Right.
children, you're a salesperson because you're selling them on cleaning up their dishes after themselves, picking up their laundry, brushing their teeth, doing their homework,
Um,
eating their broccoli. Okay. You're a salesperson. If you have a
behaving in
friend
public,
that
right.
you're telling them about a restaurant, you're selling the restaurant to them for a reason, the ambiance, the food, the
Yeah.
bartender, whoever. Anybody who tells me I don't do sales, you might not be a professional salesperson, but
Right.
you are absolutely selling something to somebody every day of your life in some
And
capacity.
that's a great point, and if that doesn't feel slimy, then don't make the other version of selling slimy,
Well, stop being a car
right?
salesman and you're good.
Oh my gosh. And some of them are just trying to serve, right?
I Don't be a slimy lemon selling car salesman. There you go.
Oh my gosh. Don't be a slimy anything.
That's
I mean,
right.
you'll attract what you put out, right?
That's
That's
correct.
what I
Yes, ma'am.
believe. Okay, so let's wrap up AI for people.
Okay.
There's a lot happening. I don't know if everybody's dug into what's going on with all this as much as, but it's coming and it's going to change the way, or no, I shouldn't say it's coming. It's here.
It is here. It's been here for a
There's
long
no putting Jack back in the box. The only thing that we do is figure out how to use it safely and securely for business to be able to produce more, to be more
Yeah.
competitive, to get those items done that maybe we've put off because we've felt overwhelmed. I really want to do YouTube, but I can't write a video script. Guess what? You don't have an excuse anymore. So it's time to welcome and
Amen.
embrace the new tools, right?
Yep.
Because now you have access to it. Or I needed some blog content, but I'm not a good writer and I couldn't afford somebody. There's no excuse now. There are so many tools out there that can really help you. And again, as Trish said, it's not to copy or not to get it to become your new voice. It's to work with you to find your ideal voice, to help you get your thoughts out of your head and
Yep.
make it sound better that somebody would want to sit and read it.
Correct.
Um, I've taken some of my stuff that is not great and just put it into Chat GPT and say, help me clean this up. Help
Mhm.
me find a better way to say this, or help me get this kind of message through. And I'm not quite sure exactly how to say it. It's wonderful.
It
I've
is
written hundreds of
amazing.
thousands of words in the last year.
It's amazing what it can do. I took a 5-minute live where I taught something. I taught like my Piggly method really fast, or I taught just something very basic. I've done it quite a few times. Chad's forced me to do this several times now, as I'm sure you
Good.
can imagine. I know that you know him well.
Yeah.
And he's take that video, transcribe it through otter.io, and then upload the transcription into clean it up, make sure it
Yep.
sounds like you, whatever, but with all the uhs and the ums and whatever, and upload that into Chat GPT and tell it to write you a syllabus, tell it to write you a course, tell it to write you a YouTube video, like you said, tell it to write you a webinar. Oh my God, right?
Isn't that
And
awesome?
it'll do it. It'll do it. It can write you a book. It can write you a downloadable checklist. It can whatever the hell you want to it'll write you. And does it take a few prompts and do you have to be very
Yeah.
specific with the commands that you give it? Absolutely. You got to condition it to know exactly what you want. But once you have it conditioned, it's it's powerful.
Life-changing.
It really is. It's a
Yeah.
time saver for the busy moms and dads out there, for the busy entrepreneurs out there,
Yeah.
for the woman who recently broke her wrist and she's running a podcast and she's still got to make money and she's got a brilliant entrepreneurial mind and she wants to put courses out there. 30 courses. How long did that take you, Audra? I'm curious to know.
I would say start to finish. Now, so 30 courses, so social media, but then is one course. But inside of that, there's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. So every platform. And then there's probably 4 to 5 lessons within each one of those. So there's got to be at least 200 or 300 modules. And it took me total from recording to transcribing the whole thing, writing the content, probably a month and a half.
My God.
Yeah. I
That's like
could,
a year that
yeah.
you can. I hope people realize how long that would have taken you without it.
Yeah, without AI, because I have other courses that I did manually with PowerPoint,
Oh my God.
writing, all that kind of crap. It probably took 3 months per each course, let alone 30 courses. And again, they're short. Each module is
Yeah.
maybe a minute to 3 minutes long, but it took some time. But again, it's this easy things where it's content I know. It's content I've taught.
Yeah.
I know the difference. So if you're listening to this and saying, I'm just going to go out and create 30 courses in a month, the thing is, you better know the subject matter because
100%.
ChatGPT or Bard or Anthropic, or Claude 2, whatever platform you're using, can give you inaccurate data. So I was able to say, no, we wouldn't do it in that order. That's not, or it would give me in my SEO course, it would say the meta description should be 320 characters, which is incorrect. It should only be about 160. So
Mm.
it'll give you things. And if you don't know the content, you'll actually put out incorrect information. So, one, I know the subject matter that I covered. Um, Two, I knew what I wanted. So it was speed and it was just being able to produce what I wanted super quick. I said, this is what I'm creating. This is what we're going to do. This is the format. And I uploaded a bunch of my tone of voice and other blog articles I had written. This is what I sound like. This is who I am. Like you, sarcastic, friendly, conversational. I have certain, like a persona of me
Yeah.
that I'll
Yeah.
start everything with. And it makes it a lot easier because it'll produce content that would sound like I would talk. And it's
Yeah.
amazing that we're able to do that.
Yeah.
Guys,
Yeah.
embrace it. Don't run from it. Be
Do not run
cautious.
from it.
Be
Just,
cautious.
but do it ethically. That's my
Yes.
biggest thing
Yeah.
that I tell people. I'm like, just do it ethically. Don't steal somebody else's ad copy and use it as your own, because I'll tell you what, in a heartbeat, first of all, you'll get sued.
Yeah. It's that little thing, right?
Yeah, there's that little thing of getting sued. But you'll have egg on your face if you
Yeah.
actually can't deliver on the results that you promised in a similar, right? You'll have egg on your face and you'll look like a schmuck. And
Right.
we have seen
People
how
talk.
quickly people, oh Lord have mercy, do the people talk, right? I know what I'm great at, and I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm decent, right?
Hmm.
And so I just work from that. I'm not fantastic in Canva. I'm not an artist that way. My
No.
art is in the kitchen. My art is coaching people. That's
Yeah.
where I like,
Play to your
I know how
strengths.
to, I know how to help people have breakthroughs, but I can go into Canva, use a template and pop some information in there, use it as a guide, and then speak to it. And then people are like, and then they do it and they're like, oh, okay, this is cool. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. It's fun. You start playing with it. But I'm not somebody who's going to go in and into Canva and create like a whole branding template
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a branding professional. I don't teach that. So I leave that for the experts at that. Right.
Yeah.
And I work with plenty of them. In content, I love teaching content. I love teaching people how to use Google. Just Google alone.
Very powerful.
It's so powerful. Oh my God. The information you can get out of Google, just,
Hmm.
it drives me nuts how people don't know how to do it. And then I teach them. They're like, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, there's your content. You're welcome. Now plug that crap into Chat GPT and have a good time.
So to that point, think about anything. You get a new iPhone. How many of the features do you actually know how to use?
Well,
Right.
I've been using CapCut, and that's a fun app. I will say that's a fun
Yeah.
app to use for video content.
It
So,
is, but it's owned by TikTok. So I won't
oh,
it.
yeah, no, I know. Listen, I'm with you. I get it. I get it. But it's fun. It's a fun and easy way to edit stuff. Like I said, I don't create on TikTok. I watch it and I consume it just to see what's trending and all of
Yeah.
that. But I know I prefer Instagram and Facebook. At the end of the day, it's all AI, right? It's all,
Yeah.
they're all getting our information.
Yeah.
We're not going to hide
True.
from them now.
No, you're not going to. All right. So let's pivot for a second. So
Yes,
somebody
ma'am.
else that's listening to this, they've got their idea, they've launched, they know who their audience is, but they're feeling way overwhelmed with all the stuff that needs to get done.
Okay.
Where should they focus their energy?
Oh, Man, that's a really good question. I would say they should focus their energy on, first of all, the most important thing that's going to be the most productive thing to get them money, to get
Hmm.
them paid. Okay.
Hmm.
Because there's going to be there's always going to be PS, welcome to entrepreneurship. There's always going to be a million different things that you could do. That's overwhelming. Could I be SEOing my website right now? Sure, I could be doing that. Could I be diving into the course that I have for my business coach and taking notes and did it? Of course I could be doing that. But I know that it's very productive for me, A, to have conversations with other entrepreneurs because this can be a
Yeah.
very lonely place. And secondly, it gives me an opportunity to like brain dump and just talk. And I know that Audra is going to share this out to other people and it gives me an opportunity to use her platform. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take the time, I'm going to make the time. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, look at everything that you need to work on and go with the
Hmm.
thing that's going to push you the needle for you immediately as fast as possible and go all in on that. Push everything else to the side and go all in on that thing and finish that thing to completion. And then go back to the drawing board and what's your next thing. So make a list of priorities that's going to help you
Hmm.
move the needle. That's the best thing I could say.
I would agree. The getting to revenue first has got to be the focus. And until you do, the conversation's very limited.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are stuck. So if you're sitting at your desk in the morning and say, okay, I got this checklist of stuff I can knock out really fast. It's only going to take me half a day. Or I can go on LinkedIn and start having some conversations with some potential customers. You got to choose the more uncomfortable thing
Yep.
because that is the only thing that changes the conversation. When you have revenue, you can hire, you can delegate, you can add products, you can run ads. Your whole ability to negotiate what your life looks like changes. But
Yeah.
without revenue, it's painful and it's hard to get through that. So when I go in to help a client, we always start with where do we get money first? And I'll focus on whatever generates more revenue because that pays for myself. And then the conversation's easy at that point because I'm paid for. I'm helping them expand all the different marketing channels that they're already using. And we start optimizing them as to where's the money going to come in. Again, that conversation and the power to be able to grow and scale doesn't come until you're making money. Okay. So as people step through this and say, okay, I'm going to go do the uncomfortable work, what is a good way for them to build a habit so every day that they look at it, trying to go out there and generate customers and generate revenue, it's not some overwhelming thing every single time they try to do it. So how do they put a system in place for that?
If you do it one time and it works, do
Hmm.
it again.
Okay, but what if it doesn't?
So if you do it one time and it doesn't work, then guess what? Then you need to reach out to somebody and learn how to do it better, right? Like you
Yeah.
said, you just created 30 courses on how to create content, how to do sales, how to do all of these things. So my advice is if it doesn't work the first time, then reach out, go learn how to do it better.
Yeah.
There are, like you said, Dan Kennedy alone. Let's just talk about this, Audra.
Yeah.
There are hundreds of people out there with incredible content on YouTube, on podcasts,
Hmm.
everywhere. Russell Brunson, he's got his own channel just talking about having those sales conversations, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So go listen to it and then call a friend, call a family member and sell them a pencil, sell them a pen, whatever it sounds like, right? And do it over and over again and get yourself some kind of a script. I have a script for my business coach. I've got a
You
whole,
good.
yeah, he's got a whole system. It's a 7-minute video and I've watched it at least 4 or 5 times. I took notes. I typed it up. I have it in a Google Doc and I print it out. And every
Good.
single time I get on a sales call, I follow it. I
Good.
follow it and I close. And I'm not perfect at it. There's definitely some hiccups. I get a little nervous sometimes because it's scary, but I'm doing better. So to say, if you do it the first time and it doesn't go well, now you got to go back to the drawing board. Where did you go wrong? How can you do it better? And at the end of the day, it's not so much selling. And I truly believe this. It's not so much selling. You're offering somebody an opportunity to help,
Right.
right? So if you let them tell you what they need and you can provide them with that, it's not a sale anymore. It's just a service.
Great point.
It's your AC broke and you need somebody to come repair it, right? If you think
Mhm.
of it that way, you're in Florida, your air conditioning broke. Please, good God Almighty, right?
Don't say that.
My brakes, my brake pads were metal to metal. I didn't even realize that, but immediately I'm like, I have to take my car in. I have to take my
Yeah,
car in. I have to have it serviced. I have to have this taken care of. I have to be able to drive safely. I have 2 children that I drive in my car every day. So at the end of the day, it's what do
yeah,
people need that you can deliver on? And how do you make it so that what you offer is exactly what they're looking for, no matter what? Yes,
that's
it takes some fine tuning, but I hope that's a good answer. I feel like that's the best answer I could give.
no, it's a great answer, and one thing I wanna point out, you guys heard her at the beginning where she said, "I still get nervous. It's still uncomfortable. I sometimes screw up. It's learning in progress." She's been doing this for a lot of years. It takes practice and
Does.
it is awkward. I think Tony Robbins says your goal is not to get rid of fear, it's to learn how to work through it. This is no
Yes.
different. So it's not that you're going to go into every sales experience or every marketing experience, every new experience or problem or challenge you're going to come into in your business and think that they're never going to be there again. They are. They're always going to be there. That's why this is called the messy middle, is because
Yes.
there's always something that we need to push through. The goal is not to make the uncomfortableness go away. The goal is to learn how to work through it, ask
Mhm.
better questions, not be afraid of it, not run every time a challenge comes up. Say, okay, I'm hitting another challenge. What's the solution? Is it calling a friend? Is it hiring a coach? Is it buying a program? Is it doing my own research and just trying to figure out what it is that I need to learn to move me to that next step? You guys, it doesn't matter if you're on your first dollar, your first million, your first 20 million. I've worked with people across all of these gamuts. They still run into challenges. They're
And when you
challenges we just add a zero to. That's it.
That's exactly right, and I'll tell you what, every great salesperson that I've ever spoken to or heard from or listened to or any YouTube
Yeah.
channel, they'll tell you everybody starts out suck, right?
Yeah.
Your first attempt to sell something, you suck.
Yeah.
Everybody starts out, you suck at it. But guess what? How did they become great? Because they practice. They kept trying. They go
Yeah.
back to the drawing board. They learn how to do it better. They make tweaks, whatever, right? And then before you know it, it's not so much that they're just great at it. It's just they've cultivated it into their own process. And it's a
Yeah.
process that works. And now, because of that, because it works better, the more you do it, the more confident you get. And that confidence comes through. And if you
Yeah.
speak confidently, the person on the other end of that conversation is going to feel and hear that confidence and it's going to exude into their pores, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to want to hire you. Yeah. And just, I feel like it gets easier each time, but it's because it's not necessarily that you get easier, it's because you get better, right?
That's exactly it. And I
Yeah.
think that the challenge with today is there's such great marketers out there. They make it seem easier than it actually is. It's
Some of them
not.
we do. Yeah.
There's more work that goes into it. So yes, they're trying to tell you, here's an idea and here's what it looks like at $1 million. But you guys, just because they're not showing you the work that has to happen there doesn't mean that there's not work that has to happen there.
Your God
Everybody that's
Almighty.
gone through it,
Yeah.
when I hit my first million, when I hit this, when I hit that, there were different things that I had to learn. We don't ever stop learning. So dig into that.
Yeah.
Recognize it's going to be part of this. And if you're not willing to do the work, that's okay, but you're going to find out the hard way that maybe a job is more suited. And I say that with love and compassion, but you got to know that there is work. It's not just push a button and make $1 million.
100% it's work. It's work and it's chiseling at that brick wall every time you
Yeah.
come against it and watching the light beam through and going, oh my God, okay. Keep going. We're almost there.
All right. So we're about at the end here. So let's
Yes,
wrap
ma'am.
up with one piece of advice that you'll give somebody that's listening to this and saying, man, I am stuck. What do I do?
I would say that's nobody's stuck. That the only thing
Good.
that's really stuck are 2 pieces of paper with glue in between them. Okay. So reframe what you're saying. Okay. You're not stuck. You're just unsure. You're uncertain and you're fearing the unknown and you're not alone. We have all been there. We all continuously get there every time we take on something new. Okay.
Yeah.
So why do you feel stuck? And go sit down and write out everything that makes you scared about starting a new business. Okay.
Yeah.
And then turn the page over and then write down everything that excites you and that you're looking forward to, right? All your goals, like
Hmm.
truly every single one of them. Is it because you want to pay off your debt? Is it because you want to own an RV? Do you want to be a part of a boat club? Do you want to have financial freedom so that you can literally live that laptop lifestyle that we all call, whatever it looks like? Just make yourself a list because it's always mental. It's
Yeah.
always mental, right? And go back to people like Audra, people who have built these businesses, and listen to their podcasts, listen to the advice that they give you and get fueled. Just get fueled and get guidance. And, or at the end of the day, hire a coach,
Exactly.
hire someone to coach you through it.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm very empathetic to people who it's not so much about being broke. It's about being, it's mentally broke, right?
Yeah.
It's the mind, it's a broke mindset. You're not broke. You're one step away. It could be one phone call. Russell Brunson says one funnel away. That funnel could just be a phone call. Hopping on a phone call
Yeah.
with somebody, letting them walk you through, hey, what are your skills? What are your talents? What have you done so far that's prevented you from, again, moving that needle forward? And how can we get you there? Let's get started.
That's it.
So I think sometimes it's just that phone call. Book that strategy call with those people who tell you.
Exactly.
I
Talk through it.
Yeah.
I mean, stop the loop. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Stop
Stop
the
that
loop.
loop and get some outside input because typically that's all it is. You've just looped yourself into this place of silliness that is so unnecessary.
It is. It really is
Yeah.
unnecessary. And I think that when again, going back to being self-aware, when we become self-aware, when we've got a list of the things that are
Yeah.
uncertain, and then we write out our goals, I promise you the
Yeah.
goals list just keeps, it's always longer and
Yeah.
bigger, right? And so you take that goals list and go, man, I got 2 to 3 pages of things that I want to do in my life. Okay, I got to call somebody. I got to get started, right?
Get started.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, Trish. Thank you so much for being here. This has been awesome.
Yeah,
Lots
thank you
of,
for
lots
having
of,
me. I
yeah.
appreciate you so much. I'm so grateful to you.
Absolutely. You guys, there's so many great nuggets here. I want you to take your time and listen to it. And as she said, if you need help, you got to reach out. Send us messages. Either one of us, we're on social. All of Trisha's information will be with the podcast. So please don't stay stuck. There are plenty of people that have paved the way. So let us help you make this easier on you.
Amen.
All right. Until next time, guys, keep moving through the middle.